1954 to 59, when Dr. King was pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery. Much of that period, he was also a leader of the Montgomery bus boycott. He spoke in terms of a new South, a racially inclusive South versus the old South, which was what? Racially separatist, characterized by secessionism and the Civil War and Confederate tradition. Dr. King wanted to get rid of that whole old South tradition and to bring into being what he called a new South, which would be a racially integrated South, a South, as he put it, that would experience a social, political, and economic boom. That's what he had in mind when he spoke in terms of the New South. He was speaking on a regional level, and this is how his beloved community vision found expression on the regional level. Now, when you get to the national level, you have to speak in terms of the American dream. From 1960 up to about 1964, the American dream metaphor figures prominently in Dr. King's rhetoric, in his speeches, in his interviews. Remember, I said in 1954 to 1959, it's the New South idea. But from 1960 to 1964, he's talking about the American dream, and he's arguing that America is essentially a dream unfulfilled. And our struggle is designed to bring about the fulfillment or the full realization of the American dream. That is the right to access to public facilities, the right to vote, to hold public office. It means economic empowerment. It means the right to the pursuit of happiness. This is what Dr. King was talking about in that period from 1960 to 1964. If you listen to his speech at Lincoln University in June 1961, it's entitled The American Dream, and he's talking about the importance of black people becoming a part of representative democracy, becoming a part of participatory democracy, and having the full rights and privileges of all other Americans. So he elevates that concept of the New South, which is so prominent from 1954 to 1959, to the concept of the American dream, which is very prominent from 1960 up to 1964.
But now also, Dr. Baldwin, there was another idea of the American dream before Dr. King became involved in it, before the information that you're giving us now. And so look at that old idea in terms of the American dream and tell us how that old idea differ from Dr. King's American dream.
Exactly. Now, Dr. King's idea of the American dream, we must remember, was rooted in his reading of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Emancipation Proclamation, America's sacred documents. And he always said that I'm not the first proponent of this idea of the American dream. It goes back to the founding fathers and others, but we have to understand that we have to take that vision further than they did. When they spoke of all men being created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, they were talking about an ideal that we need to always work toward. They were working toward that ideal. We need to work toward that.
Even during slavery, there's an idea that can happen.
That can
become a reality.
Yeah, Dr. King breaks with the founding fathers. He says, but they put in place a principle that can be universal. So we need to what? Expand on that vision and pursue the American dream in a different kind of way. So he saw the American dream as being articulated historically, but that it's an unfolding phenomenon, and that with each generation has to define what that American dream is all about, and then work toward the realization of that American dream.
As a matter of curiosity, would you say that President Obama's immigration activities is an effort to fulfill this idea of what? And I think that he said that on a number of occasions, in reality, that's what that's all about.
Exactly. You know, the interesting thing, when I think of Obama, and I preface my remarks with this, Dr. King said in '68, just before he was assassinated, that in 40 years we could have a Negro president. In '08, Obama is elected. That's 40 years.
That's Dr. King, too.
And I think there's a book by Earl O'Cara Hutchison, I think, called From Obama to King. And he makes the point that much of what is happening in the Obama administration is what? The coming to fruition
The
of
fulfillment
ideals
in a real sense of
that Dr. King
that
has.
makes sense.
Because when you talk of immigration, the DREAM Act, and what Obama has done to increase the chances of Latinos engaging in participatory democracy in this country, it's amazing. And I think that immigration initiative on the president's part is very much in line with Dr. King's dream of the beloved community, because it is a community, it is a situation that involves the coming together of peoples of all racial and ethnic backgrounds to experience the fullness of what it means to be children of God.
Or to be an American citizen as well.
Exactly.
And so in a real sense, I think we've got about a minute and a half during this second segment. But in a real sense, the dream continues under President Obama.
Exactly. The American dream, I said Dr. King articulated that concept on a prominent level from 60 to 64, but he understood it as an unfolding phenomenon. That the American dream is always in the process of becoming, always in the process of being realized for each generation that comes along.
That's what made it a reality and real.
Yes.
It was something that was always in anticipation of others becoming a part of that that early dream.
That's right, that's right. And I might, say that certainly the American dream